after I made that first video, he like responded, trash talking me, whatever. I got a DM from someone, and Karen streams Katarina, and what happened was,
Hey, welcome to the Cool Club.
All right, guys, welcome to episode 7 of Hooves, Horns, and Hearsay. I am your host, the Moosey Man. Unfortunately, my co-host, Miss UV Unicorn, can't be with us tonight, but we have an amazing guest on, Mr. Professor Akali. How are you doing today, my friend?
hello, I'm doing amazing. How you doing?
Oh man, I speak for myself, my community, and all the people, my mother, my father, my little sister. I don't have a sister. I told all of them that you were going to be on, and I speak for each and every one of them saying how exciting it is having you on here. Oh man, we got a treat for you guys today. The main topic that we are going to be talking about is the League of Legends community, the toxicity that can be within it, how to navigate the world of content creation, how to just be a member in a society. So before we get into that, Mr. Professor Akali, I'd like to ask a little bit about the person behind the label, the man, the myth, and the legend. I'd like to ask you a little bit about yourself before we get popping off with the juicy stuff. I understand that you just moved recently. How's that been going?
Oh my God, moving is a nightmare, and I recommend it to no one unless it's once every like 3+ years. It is the most draining physical activity. It's like pushing yourself to your limit working out, but for several days straight. Feels good though. I feel like David Goggins right now, just a fucking monster. Oh, can I swear on this podcast?
Oh yeah, trust me. I mean, I probably cursing is about 25% of my vocabulary, but I do it like a gentleman and a scholar, so that's all we have to worry about. Yeah, no, I'm telling you, I remember my age every single time. I've only had to move about 3-4 times in the last decade, and I think I'm still feeling it to this day. Yeah, so you're actually, if I remember correctly, you are back in my part of the woods that I just recently moved to, Texas, correct?
Oh, actually, I kind of scrapped that whole thing.
Okay.
And we
Okay.
are in Arizona now.
Oh,
So
nice.
lots of back and forth. Ooh, sorry. No, actually, you know what? I'll leave my camera right here. Lots of back and forth decision making.
Boost team!
But ultimately decided to go back to where family and friends where family and friends are, get a place over here and just settle down and just focus on the grind.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, no, I was about to say a comment on how hot the move must have been because you're out in this weather, but man, it's even worse in Arizona. Thankfully, there's been a little bit of a cold front, so you're good on that front, at least, right?
Oh, it is the perfect month to move. It has been slightly chilly, and any other month I would, because we've moved like 4 times in the past year, just off of different life circumstances. That it's brutal when you're already sweating, but
Welcome to the
it's been a very chill move.
I'm really glad to hear that. And I'm a little sad. I was like, man, after this podcast, if he moved closer to me in Texas, I might have to come, whatever. Like, I don't care if he's 500 miles on the opposite side of Texas. I'll do a little housewarming present. Here you go, man. I guess the mail should do for now. The mail will do for now. So
Yeah. We'll meet up in TwitchCon, and we'll have some fun every year.
that's actually a perfect segue because the next thing I was about to mention is the Moosey Man himself was fortunate enough to meet you at the most recent TwitchCon. How do you think this year's TwitchCon has been? And what's kind of been your favorite thing about this TwitchCon that we just got through with, or TwitchCons that you've been in the past?
This is actually my first TwitchCon, and I went to PAX East in Boston in 2019. I'm not gonna lie, it's not for me. I think it's amazing for viewers, and I think it's amazing to meet people in real life. Like the hanging out with you guys, Beerman, our whole For Fun squad was not only the highlight, it was just what made it fun, other than the parties. But the event itself, I want to say for me, it was just a way to get people to the same area so we can all hang out. But yeah, I mean, like the event itself was okay. Obviously, there was some little bouncy ball death trap situations that Twitch had in store for everyone.
Yeah,
And
the classic headline story that we definitely all got to enjoy and partake in memeing on, correct? Let's not mention
Yeah.
that, but when that's the highlight of the TwitchCon itself, you know that the highlights were probably not at the con. They were probably within like the friendships and, like you said, everybody meeting up, sometimes for the first time. I mean, some of those guys have you ever met some of the people that you were able to meet to the first time around this last TwitchCon?
I've not met a single person that I've like worked with in real life before.
Uh-huh.
For the most part, obviously, there's a few people in like, but yeah, everyone I met at TwitchCon, I met for the first time that we hung out with, like Beer Man, Body, Aoki, just the whole crew. First time meeting everyone.
Oh, for sure. And massive shout out to, we see him in chat right now, but bro, I gotta give MVP respects to Mr. Beerman, who came out here and was dude, supplying all the times, the good memes, the place to stay. I mean, Beerman, you a real one, baby. You a real one.
Beerman's an absolute legend.
Yeah, and I'm fortunate enough to meet you through the homie Beer Man, and and I'll tell you what, we had a fantastic time, and you hit the nail on the head. I will say, the one night that all you guys came over, we were able to just vibe, kick it, have fun. I mean, some alcoholic beverages were had, I will admit, but it only makes the time better, right?
Yeah, and I wish I could have hung out more. My best friend from real life flew into California for a show that we were going to, so we did our own thing for most of that weekend. It was just pretty unfortunate timing, but obviously my best friend and we had a show prior, just took priority.
Oh, for sure. And dude, we're just glad that we had the time, because hey, it led you to be on this podcast. So all I can be thankful for, hey, that's good for me. That's cool for me. So I will say though, and Beerman will back me up on this, meeting you at TwitchCon, there's been just a running meme that everybody is tall. Everybody's a giant. I mean, I know my chat knows that I'm out here 6'5", Bill Diffie. Let's go. But yeah, man, you were actually extremely tall yourself, and being, of the non-vertically challenged variety, I definitely am guessing that you played some sports. You got down with the athletics in the past. Can you kind of walk us through the old glory days of what you did in either middle school, high school afterwards?
So it wasn't even high school. I think I stopped at the beginning of high school, but I used to play basketball every day for several hours, and I don't even know if this isn't like an ego thing, because it's like a joke, but like I was like kiddie pro, where we got to we were in Arizona, I was in this boys and girls club league, and then this thing above it, doesn't even matter, but we would play the regular season in our boys and girls clubs in the area, then we would go to state and we would travel around, and we actually got to play on the Suns court. We got completely obliterated, and it was very unfortunate. But we did get to play on the NBA stadium for our last game of that tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once we lost, I let a different addiction take over. I think it was RuneScape. So
hey, well, you know what? That's kind of the point, though, because everybody's like, why are these kids spending all their times on video games when they could be outside playing sports and making friends? It's like, hey, look at the person over here on my right. Look what happened when he transferred over from the world of, going outside and athletics, and look at what he's became now. So you know what? Teachers, mom, dad, whatever, who the naysayers were, Professor Akali, proving them wrong out here, baby.
I cannot condone that. There's got to be a balance. You don't want to end up like the League of Legends players. Half the ones I interact with they are the creation of not going outside. So touch your grass for sure.
Oh, for sure. Make sure, kids at home, touch grass. You know what? The Moosey Man and Moosey Man Incorporated does not condone not touching grass from time to time.
Yeah, order it on Amazon. You don't even need to actually go outside. Just get a little felt field, and that's good enough.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So, so I guess I wanted to start with just getting a little bit about yourself, but we'll step right in over, because you mentioned, we're going to have plenty of time of talking about the people that have not touched grass, we shall say. And that steps right over into the world of being online, the content creation that you started. Kind of tell me what got you started in the first place, either if it was a video game, if it was streaming, kind of just walk us through the progression of how you started out.
It's funny. I was actually just telling a friend about this for a different reason, because I used to be very overweight. So kind of but it all led into the same story. Mm-hmm. So getting into content creation. So let's see, I'm 27 now, and I used to play League so much. I would skip school. I would fight my parents. There were points where they would like try to pour water on me to wake up because they just didn't know what to do. Because I'd be up all night playing League of Legends. I was told by my principal in high school, if you didn't show up every day, you're gonna get expelled. Um, I didn't show up. They didn't expel me. They because I was a senior at that point. They just wanted me to get the hell out of there and not be their problem anymore.
Yeah.
So what happened was so yeah, I was playing League of Legends since the beginning of season one.
Hmm.
I got to 2400 elo, which is like it's like top. I want to say top 50, but honestly, I don't fully remember. It was insanely high rank back in the day.
Hmm.
And I was challenger in parts of season three. Then yeah, I kind of just moved on to college, took a little break from gaming, moved in with some friends, did the whole university thing, flunked out because chemistry, pre-med, oh, way too hard for someone like me, and kind of lost, I guess, like I lost my purpose in life. But I mean, no one really has a purpose in life when you're in like an 18, 19 year old. So was playing World of Warcraft 16 hours a day on a private server for like classic WoW. Are you familiar with WoW at all?
Yeah, I'm familiar with it, but weirdly enough, I'm probably the only person on this entire platform that's never played it.
Gotcha, gotcha. So, there have been like expansions throughout the years, and like the original like vanilla version, there was a private server that like was bootlegged and like had like 1 million monthly users. Anyways, I was addicted to that, playing 16 hours a day, and the only reason I really got into YouTube and the reason I'm not just playing WoW and like 400 plus pounds at this point is Blizzard, the like creators of the IP, sent a cease and desist saying, "Hey, private server, hey, bootleggers, take this down, or you are all going to prison." Uh, so they did that. So they complied. They took it down. It was a tragic day for sure. But through that, I kind of was lost in purpose. I was barely going to community college, living with my brother, and I told him I wanted to do YouTube, and he was kind enough to, and like keep in mind, he wasn't making like a crazy amount of money. He was making like at the time an entry level IT job, but he got me a like $3,000 computer so I could pursue YouTube.
Wow.
He like paid for me to live there, and pretty much I was able to just give my heart and soul into it. I would like look up how to grow, etc., etc. Um, Reddit posting, all this stuff you could imagine,
Hmm.
and yeah, it kind of just worked out. The lucky thing on the timing was I started streaming on YouTube instead of Twitch, and this was right when they started YouTube. YouTube, what is it? YouTube Gaming. Um,
Right, right, yeah.
so the algorithm for that in 2018 was obscene. I had 2,000 subscribers at one point, very back in the past, and I had 5,000 CCV. 5,000 people were watching me live with only 2,000 subscribers because YouTube was just trying to like they overdid the algorithm to like push it. And yeah, from there it was just a lot of learning, a lot of steps, and eventually and yeah, here we are today.
Yeah, I mean, it's bizarre, especially since I know that there's a lot of people that either watch YouTube or stream that are actually, a lot of people are trying to have the same journey. They're trying to have the same start. Sometimes it's a little unknown where to go, where to begin. If you start with a cross-platform, media right away, if you really focus on one thing and then just kind of grow and see where it goes. I mean, it's got to have to be a very bizarre and a very like just a surreal feeling that you've gotten to the point that you have when you look back and you see where you came from, right?
Yeah, I did not expect. Um, I had no idea what I was, what the future would entail. I had no idea what kind of money it would make. I had no idea what the trajectory was. I was doing it as like a final hoorah because before I like kind of accepted that like I'm a failure, and I wasn't really going to do anything. And luckily, I loved League of Legends. I loved YouTube, and it was just a very easy thing to get passionate about.
Mhm.
And like I think that's something that is so stupidly underrated and like such a cliche at the same time is like being able to do something you're passionate about is like more than half of the formula for being successful at something.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah, and,
yeah,
and a lot of people will say it's really awesome because it's fortunate in situations like what you had where it's I really love playing this game. I have became very good at playing this game and day in and day out I will stream this content, I will content create around this content because it's something I'm truly passionate about, which is what a lot of people have problems kind of getting their footing or finding their niche or having something that doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like a grind that you're actually having to punch the clock, suffer. Like it had to be such an interesting and amazing like sensation to really love what you do, create something that's your own, and watch how it grew. So
it,
like did it ever feel like while you were grinding up through the ranks of the elo or while you were really getting your first like year or two behind you in the streaming, I mean, what was kind of like some of the hardships or some of the big triumphs that you had along the way that you can look back on?
hardships and triumphs. There's been so many like cancel attempts through Reddit and Twitter and YouTube. I think, but that's like I don't know if that's even necessarily a hardship. Um, I would say if I can't think of anything else in a second, I'll just go with that one. Um, yeah, I think that's a pretty fair one. I
Mhm.
think in terms of growing, like the growing pains, it's just a matter of dealing with the swings of ups and downs. Like, ooh, like that might be the most stressful part of being a YouTuber is
Mhm.
you're gonna have good months, you're gonna have bad months, you're gonna have good years, you're gonna have bad years. You just gotta go with it. And I remember one of my best friends who I think recently quit League, quit YouTube for League. He's gonna do Grand Theft Auto, but besides the point, he and I started doing YouTube together, and he and I were talking about all the times that I wanted to quit because I just wasn't having success. I was having a downward trend, or I was getting like mass harassed by like Reddit or something like that
Mhm.
for complete nonsense. So I would say it's just a matter of the swings are probably the most stressful part. What was the exact question?
So, and I guess we'll get to the triumphs later, but I know that there's going to be a lot of hardships that we talk about, and we're definitely going to dive into the world of kind of some of the things that have progressed that you've had to deal with over the years. Just kind of the idea, and that's what will kind of leads us into the main question and the main topic of tonight is the League community in general and how it has became over the last, I guess you'd say 5 or 6 years is really when we saw a large change. So we can kind of get into the meat and potatoes of both those highs and lows later. Before we do that, though, one last question before we kind of get right down to it. What started the Akali grind and why the champion specifically?
Ooh, okay. So, um, I Akali was my very first one trick. Uh, I want to say my very first one trick in season one. So very 13 years ago. She was so different back then, but she wasn't good back then. So I used to be so toxic when I was like, I don't know, 16.
Mhm.
So like, yeah, back in season 1 through 3, I'd had like 4 or 5 accounts permanently banned for just being an asshole. So whenever I would have to level up a new account, I would do a Cully because she's a pub stomper, which just like you get ahead, you snowball, and you just start wiping the floor with everyone that's not as good as you.
Mhm.
She takes a lead and just runs with it very well. So I came back after I had, pretty much done my whole thing. I went off to college, played well, and then eventually came back to League. I came back in season 5 or 6, and there was this like Korean Akali tank build going on, something I'd never seen before. And basically, I came back to League, and like my very first game, I got dumpstered by an Akali, and I was like, "Oh shit, this champion's good again. Sounds good to me. Let's play her."
Yeah.
And obviously, the champion's like now meta, like good for the first time.
Yeah.
I've always loved her,
Mhm.
so let's go with it. Let's go with it. And then I just made some guides because I knew educational content for League is the fastest way of growing.
Mhm.
To like get the tryhards, all the diehards into your on your corner. So I just call myself Professor because professors teach, and yeah.
Dude, and it's got to be such an amazing feeling to see a champion that you've been playing for so long, that you have a background on, become a good, playable, almost like you said, meta top pick. I mean, that had to be such a fantastic evolution for you personally. But just kind of stepping into what I definitely want to get your opinion. We have a lot of people that have probably either stepped into League of Legends for the first time in the last few years, or people that have left League of Legends for the first time in the last few years. What do you remember being a Season 1 player and kind of seeing how in-game chat toxicity, content creators toxicity, and just kind of how it all became to where we're seeing it now?
So it's really hard to quantify something like that. I think I've thought about this kind of stuff hundreds of times, and I think compared to Season 1, for example, there's a lot. How about this? As the game gets older and older, more competitive, more champions are released. The average player base skill increases. There is no barrier for entry. There's no tutorial that works. If you try to play as a new player, you get crushed, so no new people don't come in. As the game gets sweatier and sweatier, it naturally becomes more and more toxic, because the people as a whole that are the type of people that will play League of Legends are more and more, I would say, like, miserable. And that's like obviously an overgeneralization, but they'll be more unhappy, or like just more unhinged. And the problem with that is, as you see as a regular player, like a happy normal player, every game your teammates are unhinged. They're being an asshole, I guess is a good way of putting it. It's like, well, why don't I do this? Because everyone else is letting out their frustrations, and like being like, flaming. And obviously, like, I don't know about you. Did you play Call of Duty when you were younger?
I did, yeah.
So, like, so we know what, like, being toxic and like being an asshole is, and like, I don't care if like someone flames, as long as they don't like give up or stop trying in a rank game. But the problem is when you have like Riot Games giving the summoner's code about like, you must not do this wrong thing, you must not flame, you must blow your teammates in the bathroom, and then like they don't uphold any of the rules. The face of the game is a streamer who like literally runs it down or trolls every single game.
Right.
It becomes a very toxic environment, and I think throughout the years, less sane, happy players will play. Like, bigger streamers will be turned off to it, and it kind of leaves this game to become a cesspool throughout the years. And Riot Games had an opportunity to kind of stop it, but they just never did. And at this point, it's kind of turned into a all-out war zone of cave trolls.
So what do you like? And a lot of people will say, from the standpoint, if a game wants to be more marketable or they don't want to lose a player base, they might be afraid of really digging in and correcting the underlying issues of toxicity. But also the threat to that is losing viewership, losing a player base. It's been the most popular game in the world for years now. So I guess, what do you think is really at the bare bones of why? Is it really that difficult to identify AFKers, enters, or why do you think that they are not taking more drastic action that we think they should have, probably for the last couple of years now?
So the first thing I would kind of like mention is it's the biggest game in the world, but that's because China, it's literally the biggest sport in China. They don't have like physical sports, as far as I can tell. I might be an ignorant American on that one. I'm sure they do have sports, but America. I'm sure, but like, like, that's their version of like American football, it seems like. Same with Korea. It's like literally like their biggest sport. I could be wrong. I'm just a stupid American. I'm eating McDonald's right now. But anyways, so I guess, actually, could you reiterate the question?
So why do you think, what's keeping them from really fixing the toxicity? Because it cannot be losing player base. It's got to be something else. Is it a technical issue? Right. Is it just, what are they afraid of? Like, why isn't it being corrected more drastically?
You know, it's a tough question, and I can't say for the Asian countries, but I would say for like the West, for example, the game is progressively dying. Like if you were to pull it up on Google Trends, it's every year it dies and dies and dies. Arcane came out, gave it a nice boost.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think the reason why it's getting worse and they're not combating toxicity
Mm-hmm.
is, and I know this sounds like kind of like a baby rage answer, but I just think Riot Games in general is very poorly ran as a company. In the League of Legends department, I don't think that they have put in any real effort. And I think, like, I went to their campus in California, and they have like what 10,000 employees. It really feels like it's ran by like 200 people. So I would just imagine it's just a very poorly ran company.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think they're just not really proactive. They're kind of just all collecting a paycheck off of this giant cash cow.
Yeah, and I mean, is the answer bringing back the tribunal? Is the answer more technical code to identify inters or AFKs? Like, what do you think about the tribunal specifically? Do you think that was helpful or hurtful, and why?
So it was both. I think back then the game was less toxic, but it's tough to say without like the all the actual analytics from like Riot Games to say if it was beneficial or not. I think they removed it because it was net negative.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I mean, I think the reason why this game has become so toxic and what they would need to do to fix it, and I'm sure I'm gonna get flamed on Twitter or something about this, but and it's not even one specific streamer, so I'm not even gonna name a name, but most of the big streamers, not most, a lot of the big streamers, and the biggest one is just non-stop trolling, flaming, just such a like baby raging like an actual child, and that is not being responded with. Don't do that from Riot. Riot is actually like promoting it in a sense. They're completely okay with it at bare minimum. And then you have all of these kids that will like grow up with League being addicted to it. They start streaming. They see that this one streamer is just crying every single game, is completely toxic, is just a giant asshole in every single game. And then they mimic it. So you'll have a bunch of clones of this one streamer. And it's just, and with that, it kind of just spreads and spreads and spreads. And I think the thing with Riot Games is they don't want to take action against any of these streamers because they think that they need these streamers.
Mm-hmm.
When in reality, they just need more tools for content creators to grow and thrive so that big content creators like, you know, Dream and Mr. Beast can actually make good videos, because right now there's just no tools. No one wants to make a real high quality League of Legends video because there's just not really much to make it on. It's the same game every year, and like no customization. So yeah, I think it kind of, it's a lot of mostly Riot Games not taking action, but the community from the top, from the creators, is just trickling down like big turdy farts.
And the big turdy farts, indeed. I mean, that's the nice way of putting it, but I'm definitely using that in my next League of Legends game in all chat, bro. Stop being big turdy farts. Hashtag Professor Akali told me to say that. They're going to be like, what are you talking about? No, but the big thing that I have a problem with, and I guess a lot of people probably within the base has a problem with this, is it seems they're just trying to put a band-aid on a wound that needs stitches, right? Like, we're seeing the changes to the post-game lobby, how they'll like kind of hide the after-game chat unless you like type or like unmute everybody.
Yeah.
They'll see like how like it's they're trying to auto ban people for bad phrases so they can't talk within the game. Of course, there's always the you can just mute all everybody, but I mean, at what point and what do you think, like, how much needs to be said or what needs to be done? Does there need to be a petition signed to where there's actually something done at the core base, or what do you think about these half measures that they're trying to implement that don't work?
Dude, I don't want to sound like a doomer, but I am just so, I could not have a lower opinion of Riot Games, and I genuinely mean that when it comes to League of Legends, in all departments besides the skin department. My honest to God, not just saying it opinion is that it's just a giant group of lazy people. Not actually, no, that's not true. I think that the leadership is horrible, and they're not really being held accountable and doing anything creative, fixing any real issues, sitting down and having a lengthy conversation. Or if they are, they're just very inefficient at it. And I really think that whoever's at the top, kind of like leading everyone, is doing a horrible job and just needs to be replaced because they have these half-ass promises. They lie a lot, and it's been confirmed. Like they say they can't implement voice chat into League of Legends, and then they do, and then like the mobile version has it. There was this like there's this do you know what practice tool is by chance?
Yes, I use it quite a bit so I can hit my ultimates on new champions.
Right. So they said that it wouldn't be possible in a dev blog to make it in a 5v5 environment. They said it's not possible to do. Whereas like then like a year later, I like had this tool made where it would like break the client, and then we were able to just make a 5 versus 5 practice tool game. Not to mention, actually, I can't. I've seen stuff at Riot that is much more advanced than that. So they're consistently lying, and they just don't know what they're. It's just a big shame. I don't know if it's like a California thing or like they're just all too busy being on the beach, not like doing anything. I don't really know what the hell they're doing, but it's pretty pathetic in every way.
Well, and the bad thing is, and that kind of leads me into my next part of this, that when you have toxic community that is allowed to become more of a toxic community and more of a toxic community, it starts having creators be the spearheads of these toxic communities. And then on the flip side, it also has other creators being attacked or being, harassed or being really the target for these leaders of all of these toxic people. So I wanted to kind of get into one thing before we dive right into a few other topics that I want to cover. You innovated a new way when you started using your YouTube to market your thumbnails, and in general when it came to like really getting people interested in League of Legends content on YouTube, but you received criticism for that. Can you kind of explain what that was and why it seemed to generate so much backlash or talk?
Right. Okay. So I guess the easy like down to it wording is clickbait. We're like, so let's just say I will go a weird build on Akali, like an AD assassin build. Or, like I'll build some like items that aren't the meta. It's not what pros would build, and then I would say like, this is so broken in like all caps. I think back when I started doing YouTube and like using clickbait, it was already incredibly common, and my peers, the people that I looked up to, Nightblue3, Bunny Fufu, the people that were really big back when I was growing, they were already doing it, and I noticed that they had the best results. And then I also noticed that every other genre outside of League of Legends was also doing it, but for some reason, whether it be there's this guy named Gosu who would just title his thumbnails, or he would just title his videos like number 3 or number 4, or like people would have these like really silly titles that are like Wiener Gragas build, or like
I know what you're talking about. They would definitely get my attention. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I don't want to like in no flame to them, because like I totally respect whatever they want to do, but like it was suboptimal, and I as a content creator, and more so just like someone trying to succeed and like put a roof over my head and like thrive in every way, it's just the optimal way of growing and doing my job. And obviously I want to do my job the best I can, doing all the YouTube metas, using the best strategies, promotions, all that stuff. I care very much. Whereas I think most people, 99% of people don't care. But the people that would care would be like Redditors that are generally miserable for one reason or another, or a big common theme throughout the years will be I'd be attacked for clickbait or whatever thing by very small streamers with like 5, 10 average viewers. And the common thing would be like they would have like 50 followers on Twitter, and they get like 0 likes per tweet, but then they would tweet hate, and it would always get like 2 or 3,000 likes. So it's very easy to attack the clickbaiter when it's just I'm an easy target. I think I'm an easy target, and that's pretty much what it comes down to. It's not even about the clickbait, because everyone does it now for the most part, which is kind of hilarious. But I think it's just people are looking for someone to get their misery out on, and there's a lot of that in League of Legends, and I think that's what I boil it down to.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, you hit the nail on the head. When everybody starts using something that they see as successful and it brings them success, it's got to be bizarre to say, hey, not only am I the person that kind of more or less started doing this before mostly anybody, and it worked for me, I received so much hate for it, yet nobody else receives hate for doing the same exact thing and being successful themselves. So it's kind of like, why hate the innovator? Why hate somebody that you're not hurting anybody? No one's getting a loss. There's nothing but just something that you wanted to do, right?
Yeah, and on that note of like everyone's doing it, why am I getting hate for it? There's actually a Reddit post. I don't know if you want to pull it up, or if you like are able to. It wouldn't mess anything up. But there was a post, Professor Akali inting in Iron. So there was this game where I made a singular video of me playing in Iron 4, like Challenger visits Iron 4, just a singular game. And what happened was, the account I purchased online was Iron, obviously, and it had been inted, so like people would throw the games to get down to that rank. And like this is, in terms of like content creator practices, this could not be more common. Like 20 plus YouTubers, if you type Challenger in Iron, you'll find everyone who's done it. And it's like, well, how do you think they got their Iron accounts? They don't have their Season 1 account just lying around in Iron 4 waiting to be used. So it's just it's kind of crazy, just the random attacks that you get here and there, being in League, or just in general. I think being a content creator, you just have to deal with that stuff.
Yeah, and the crazy part is that it kind of goes back to what our original point was. If it's not, always, if you're going to say it's something that people are going to criticize, that somebody leveled down to an Iron 4 account, well, that's going to happen regardless if anybody creates content from it. People are going to do that for fun with the game anyway. So again, it's hating somebody or directing negativity for something that Riot could have fixed in the first place, right? It's like, it's if it's something that can be corrected, why are certain people just wanting to point the finger when it should be pointed elsewhere, right?
Right. And the last thing I'll say on that, 'cause I don't think I mentioned this. So the Reddit post had 35,000 likes, and it or upvotes, and it said that I intentionally fed 16 games in a row, when in reality, like, you know, I don't even know how long that would take to do, and it's just not worth my time. But you know, that came up, and like I had a buddy in real life like text me like, what is this about? Like it came up on the very front page of Reddit.
So it was what was your reaction to that? Like how much of a hesitation or a step back does that cause one, or yourself, you know, being in that situation, to say like, I like never saw this coming. Like I know we're going to talk about some other instances where you probably didn't see those coming either. But yeah, like was it just like a very repetitive, like, God, I have to deal with this again. God, I have to deal with this again. Like, why is this happening? Why is this happening? Like, how frustrating was that in these, like, even the beginnings of these situations?
Well, the thing about, it's very frustrating. So I'll just say back then it was miserable. It depends on the time of the year too, because like I'll get canceled a few times a year for like just dumb shit, lies, over exaggerations, whatever. I think the biggest thing is like, and this is gonna sound crazy, but if I'm happy mentally and physically, like if I'm exercising, like if I'm going outside and like getting fresh air, my mental is so strong that I it doesn't actually bother me, especially nowadays, because I know that yeah, but back then I would kind of like piss my pants a little bit, and like be like, oh my god, my career is over.
Yeah.
And like there was a time where you met Heisman, right?
Yeah, great guy, great guy.
Yeah.
He was actually
So
on the Cool Guy Corner about 2 weeks ago.
oh, for real?
Yeah, yeah, he did that. The other little thing I started up recently. I really like Heisman, so yeah, I'm interested in this. What about it?
Yeah. So he was. This was like 5 years ago. I used to play. I still do actually. Fuck right. I play on my friend's account sometimes, just on stream or to make videos, and like it's against the rules to share accounts, whatever.
Right.
And someone made a post, this like hilariously worded investigation post. I noticed one day that he was playing on this account in this video, and then in another video he had it was on his team. Like, what the heck is going on? He's account sharing. And like this one had like this is the very first Reddit post like hating on me with like all these hate comments and all that. I called Heisman at 3 a.m. I was drunk. I had just been out on 6th Street in Austin. It was like 20, I want to say like 2018. And I called him and he was just in bed with like, I think his like ex-girlfriend at the time. And he's like, dude, you're fucking fine. Calm down. I was like, oh, okay. So like I used to piss my pants quite a bit when this would happen. But the last thing I'll say is, you know, well, how do I put this? The girl who like fed vodka to her cat and like yeeted it across the room.
Oh, I knew it was Ali Allers. Start with an A or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
honestly, I just don't even want to say her name.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Oh no, you're good.
At least I didn't say it.
I don't like her at all for that reason. Plus she made like a very like false and like very wrong allegation towards my cousin.
Oh,
Train wrecks. But anyways, so what is it? Oh, I watched a Twitch growth analytic expert do a breakdown of her career, and I noticed that, or what he noticed was after that after she did all those horrible things and like got called out for it by Reddit and Twitter and all these news articles, she actually doubled or tripled in view count just because being canceled doesn't actually do anything except for bring a lot of new eyes to you from all these people hating on you, and the amount of people that will stay afterwards is worth the amount of hate you'll get and the amount of people you'll quote unquote lose, because most people don't actually care that much and their attention span is so low, and there'll be something new to hate in a week from now.
yeah.
So it's yeah, getting canceled actually doesn't matter at all. So that's cool. It's a good thing to know. It's very comforting.
Yeah, and that was a point I was going to hit on. That it sometimes can be, whether it be the game itself or the Twitch platform or whoever the communities tend to use favoritism towards or excuse one actions, but then point all the fingers at somebody else's actions. I mean, has it been just an interesting journey figuring out like why some people will rally around others, why some people will just relentlessly get flamed no matter what they do? Or I mean, it speaks to the community of League. Why do you think that there's that mindset, the hive mentality of everybody attack this person, everybody forgive this person? You know, like, why is there such a shift all the time?
It's you know, I haven't actually fully figured that out. I am very happy to say that like I'm a pretty social person. I have like a good friend group outside of League, and like I'm always meeting new people at events and stuff that have nothing to do with the online world. And for a while now, I would say if I didn't ever have that social outlet, I would believe all of the horrible things that people will say, like, you know, let's all attack this guy, and like it brings you down. But I don't really it's hard to explain, but I don't really know why League of Legends in specific attacks and forgives so often. I think, and honestly, I don't really have a good answer for this. It's I would say people are more prone to attack because it is just a more miserable community in general, especially the the community, the part of the community that is vocal on Twitter and Reddit, because obviously those are already toxic platforms to begin with. Um, but you know, I think it's just like any other community. Like people let out their frustrations and they forget about it and they forgive. Honestly, I don't have a good answer for this one. I'll just call it on that.
Well, it's a bizarre phenomenon, right? And
No.
it really it has to do with it what we touched on earlier. And I kind of want to get into this being kind of the forefront of an issue specifically with you. When you have a developed community, like you said, that can tend to rally around toxic entities that didn't get excused, they then get used as a spearhead almost. It really puts people in power or powerful positions, or however you can say the content influencer power can wield. And unfortunately, you're having to deal with one of those communities directly right now. And probably, in my opinion, and most people on League of Legends community's opinion as well, that have a good sense about them, you're being sued. Kind of tell me what is going on with that.
So I don't think I'm actually going to be sued. I've just received like a threat. I don't think. I think after I made my video, I guess I can start from the top.
Yeah,
There's,
walk
there's,
us kind of
there's,
through that, because I'm sure the community here and the chat
uh,
would definitely like to know what that's all about.
right. So there was this kid who, how do I put this? How do I put this? Okay, so I used to be friends with some kid. We'll just call him Karen. I used to like help Karen with stuff. I would collaborate with him, and I wanted to see him succeed. I considered him as much of a friend as the other people I collab with. And then one day he just kind of, I think he grew a little bit on his stream, got an ego, as a lot of League people do, and like I'm sure it didn't help that he's homeschooled and like very antisocial. So he kind of just got a bit of an ego, started trash talking me on stream, even though, you know, I'm sure you know this, but like I'm not like a toxic person. I don't ever directly flame someone unless it's in response or like out of vengeance or whatever.
Yeah.
So he just kind of started flaming me, doing all the like saying all these like bad things, and then he went on to, if I believe correctly, he had an issue with another content creator about like a year and a half ago, and about some girl, just like some random girl bullshit. And he ended up sending a fake legal cease and desist, like telling the other streamer to stop talking about him. And then the guy ended up just like debunking the whole thing, and Karen ended up looking like a complete clown. I made a video talking about my experiences with Karen. You know, all the fact that I used to help him. He kind of just became an asshole, and like I also was defending the other person who, you know, he sent the legal cease and desist to,
Right.
because that streamer was one of the only people I've ever met in League that was like genuinely a nice and good person.
Yeah.
So far at that point. So like, you know, I was like, I'm gonna make a video defending this guy. I'm also like, you know, gonna share my side, and like I'm pissed off that this guy that I'd help all this time would be such an asshole. Blah blah blah. In that video, the first video, I found out, this is where it gets kind of fucked, but you know, I found out that like he had this macro where he would spam "I hate the N words,"
Yeah.
and he would spam it at the end of a game, and then after I made that first video, he like responded, trash talking me, whatever. I got a DM from someone, and Karen streams Katarina, and what happened was, this guy used to stream Katarina. His name is Thales. Thales DMs me a bunch of screenshots of Karen, pretty much just like telling him like, I hope you die. I hope you know, bait ping yourself in real life. I hope, and he is like repeatedly harassing him for like his sexuality and like all these completely fucked up things, just because Thales also streams Katarina. He basically wanted all of his competition to like, you know, mentally implode and like quit so he could be like the only Katarina player, is my best interpretation of that. And then fast forward, you know, I made a video on all that, and then fast forward 2 years later, a year and a half later, I get a message from Google like Google emails me saying that that there's a potential legal notice for a video that I made. I checked the video. It's that video I made about Karen from like a year and a half ago, and the clip that they wanted to DMCA takedown, otherwise I would take legal. They would like threaten legal action. Was 8 seconds long, and like that's in fair use for so many different reasons because it was reactionary. It was under 10 seconds. There was like all these different guidelines. So I basically just and I was already dealing with a different drama with someone like trying to ruin my life, a different person, of course, League of Legends related, trying to ruin my life. So, and like I was making a video on that already, so I kind of just threw in the Karen part, and like made it into one thing. Cause like, believe it or not, even though I get in all these different dramas, I don't actually like getting involved in drama. It's very stressful, especially, the legal stuff is also just a whole nother level of stress.
Yeah, and it's got to be so frustrating too, because we're talking, and I want to kind of get into that in a general sense as far as how far sometimes, I mean, in any video game, correct, but then with League of Legends specifically, since you've been a part of it for so long and you're so familiar with the culture and the community, before I want to get into kind of just generalities and your just opinions on why it is, how we can fix it. The other situation that you were talking about recently, it does, I mean, that has to be the pinnacle of, and I'm not sure if you do want to name names,
closing parenthesis.
if you do want to name names in that situation or not, but
we can. It's fine.
I'm not a big fan of this person, so I guess my bias from an interviewer perspective is showing through, but
yeah, even not the Prime Minister of Portugal also doesn't like him. I know it's super random, but I was DMing the guy. He was saying some fucked up shit about him. Because that guy likes esports too, but hates that guy. Anyways, we can talk about it.
No, and I mean, just being like kind of the pinnacle of all of the things wrapped in one. Somebody who is not being excused for their behavior becomes a popular person because of toxicity, toxic takes, toxic tendencies, with a toxic community that is backing up all the way around. It has to be so frustrating to see in a situation. Let's kind of walk us through, because the individual that we're speaking with, I'll let you go ahead and kind of take it from there. Kind of let us know what you think of that situation in general, and why in the world is this even still a thing in this day and age, right?
Right. I have to be very specific with my wording for potential situations. But let me try to explain. So ever since I think 2018, I've had this business where I would take very small streamers, like 5-10 viewer people, even the smallest, and I would build them YouTube channels and post for them every single day. And in exchange, I would take half of their YouTube revenue, just like the ads and sponsors. I wouldn't take anything else from like anything else. Like I wouldn't take Twitch or Instagram, Twitter, anything like that. Just their YouTube that I would do for them. They didn't even touch it. So I did that, and the first few people I made like so successful. The very first 2 people I worked on, I guess I don't like name names, but like, they were making way over like a few hundred, a few 6 figures a year within just a few years. So
Wow.
it was, so I can safely say I know what I'm doing in that regard. But so I have this management business, and what happened was this guy came in. Well, honestly, I don't even want to say his name, but we'll just call him.
That's fine. That's fine.
We'll just call him Guy.
I was ready for another fantastic nickname, but Guy's pretty good. Just a guy.
Yeah. So this guy has a problem with someone else who's trying to do a Twitch management thing, totally legit, like no issues to be had, but he kind of got involved. Okay, let me summarize this the best I can. So I have a friend named Charismai, and there was this other guy named Project. Charismai offered Project a management deal. Charisma is this giant streamer. Say like, hey, I'll promote your Twitch and all this stuff, and I'll take like 30%.
Yeah.
And Project was like, no, I'm good. And like Project in the past had even DM me asking for management, so funny stuff. But then, they mutually were like, okay, no, we're good. 6 months later, Project is in Charisma's game. He didn't know it's Charisma. And Project is like flaming Charisma, calling him a random, literally intentionally feeding in Charisma's game. Crazy. And then Charisma is like, hey, you know it's me, right? It's Charisma. And then he like, I think once he realized that, he kind of like went mentally, his mental went boom.
Mm-hmm.
He like starts flaming him, saying like, remember when you tried to scam me? Basically like offer him a management deal. And this all went nuclear. And like, obviously this is 6 months after it was offered. He made a twit longer out of anger of the league game, not because he felt like he was being scammed. And this blew up. This whole thing just blew up because freaking my friends, him including, were saying like, get involved, haha. So I got involved, and then obviously that was a big mistake because Twitter does not like me too much. And then like it went nuclear. People were saying like that whole thing is predatory. You'll have like there was like a cosplayer who has no business experience giving her 2 cents on business, and it was just like this whole crazy drama about like Charisma is being a predator on like a kid who's like sad, when in reality that had nothing to do with me. Like I didn't know that Charisma was offering this thing, even though like we were going to work together on it. The reality is, if that kid took the deal, he wouldn't have quit League. He would have been very successful because he had a lot of potential. But besides the point, so the guy who I have an issue with inserts himself into the drama because it's like likes, and it's a lot of likes, it's views and whatever.
Right.
Goes on to go into a call with Charisma, calls Charisma he says very, in my opinion, horrible things. And it felt like, I have to be so specific with my wording just for future stuff.
Yeah.
It felt like he was trying to do anything in his power to not side with Charisma and to just keep rewording it until Charisma cracked. A friend of the guy was like, hey, you should pay for this guy's rent while he's struggling, instead of just taking the percentage of that. These people, it's just a bunch of stupid kids that have no idea what business is about, or like how to run a business, which is very clear in like most of their failures. Anyways, during that whole thing, unrelated to me, the guy pulls up me and starts talking about me, pulls up multiple people that I have never managed before, shows their analytics, saying that, I don't see any benefit to signing with Professor Akali, which I'm not related in that at all. And even if there was any benefit in these like analytics of people that I managed, like he showed a few people I managed. The ones he definitely didn't show all the ones that were successful. And he showed people that I didn't manage. He pulled up all these analytics saying that there's no correlation between me managing anyone and success, showing that like he even said that like, in some cases they quit content creation, insinuating, in my opinion, that my management has led them to quit. So basically, like, all of this bullshit is being spewed out of this guy who, is like how do I put this? I want to say, I don't want to be toxic, and I don't want to say anything that'll like look bad for any future situation. But this guy, I've heard stories of so many horrible things that I know to be true, but the difference is I wouldn't usually like say this kind of stuff without like, it's just, yeah. So I guess getting back to the point, he says all this stuff and then like live to like thousands and thousands of people. And then the next day I have 2 people that were doing pretty well I was managing, both quit on me in my management. I had them on 2-year contracts. They were like, can I please break the contract early? I'm sure from their perspective, they're like, oh fuck, what's going on? Am I getting scammed right now? I gotta get the fuck out of here. But like, I've never held anyone to their contract length if they are not happy. So ended up like letting them quit because they didn't want to work with me anymore. I had like thousands of people calling me scammer. It's all the same shit. It's like the bandwagon hate, scammer, a few death threats, to my family, and like that's like honestly, the shit has happened before, but it's like it's never fun, but it's also like but this one was a bit different because this one like really really hurt my image because being a scammer is actually bad. Um, Whereas like, being a clickbaiter is like annoying. Um, so it was very bad for business. I kind of that all happened, and then after that, I was only managing a few people. I kind of just like let them go. I like didn't want to deal with the stress of it anymore. I like kind of went into this like super dark place. Um, and the yeah, one of the people I let go is Dantes, or his name is Duanel, and he is now just killing it. And I knew this guy had so much potential, and I wish I could have been there to help him. I was able to help him in like when he was low, and like we've talked about, but like in terms of YouTube, like you know, I'm so like happy for him. Like I could have helped him grow to be more, and like it didn't work out because of the like kind of like honestly like depression and like just like crippling anxiety I had to go through after that whole situation.
Yeah.
And it was all because this it was all because this guy who
Welcome to the most growth.
dropped out of I think 6th grade, didn't have like proper parenting, like just got kicked out of pro play from StarCraft, has been kicked out of every single team he's tried to coach, was inserting himself into drama, and the people, his viewers, he's convinced that he's not the scum of the earth, believed believed him, like that, like, and like would believe anything he would say.
Right.
So that's pretty much the TLDR of the initial stuff.
Well, that's what's so frustrating, because there's two sides of a coin, right? There is a difference between fabricating a lie with incomplete information in order to get yourself likes or clicks or admiration from whoever you're trying to get. And then there's a difference between showing a community who and what somebody really is, a continued pattern of behavior, an inner working that is either hidden or disguised. And it's got to be so frustrating seeing one masquerading as the other. I mean, it has to be. I mean, so like, why is it that some people do want to even go to the lengths and the depravity of straight up lying or straight up making up falsities, or just to get ahead? I don't understand the psychology that has to be behind that for somebody to do that.
I think I do. I'm not like a psychologist. I actually studied a lot of it. Just I've watched so many hours of psychology lectures, and it's like honestly like one of my biggest hobbies, like academically. What it comes down to in terms of bullying is everything is a projection. Everything. Whenever someone is toxic towards another without reason, it's a projection. Whether he'll call me stupid on Twitter, say that I'm a scammer, and then go promote a scam gambling website to his viewers, whatever the case may be, it's just a projection, and I think it's all fueled out of misery. And that's my honest answer. I don't even mean that out of like self-righteousness. I think being that type of person is almost always projection, or worse is like actual mental illness. To like I don't know, it's hard to say, but it's usually projection.
Yeah, and it's really sad to the point where I think you hit the nail on the head. That's extremely in the case in so many different scenarios that we see. And it's almost kind of reflective of a culture nowadays, not just in video games or League of Legends itself, that people feel like they have to bring others down to build themselves up, whether it be through influence or likes or follows or subscriptions, monetary value. I mean, why is it that we can't just be in a society or a culture or a League of Legends community where we're building each other up? We don't have to create drama. We don't have to create these negative feelings and animosities. Why do you think that is?
So initially I thought it was like a grass is always greener situation for League, where like I just see the worst of it because that's the community I'm a part of. But after talking to like so many different people, I have one of my best friends is like the biggest Madden YouTuber, like American football. My cousin is like the fucking fourth or third biggest streamer on Twitch. Um, and like I'm pretty close with S-Fan. I've had a conversation with him about this as well. Everyone in all these different realms. I've even talked to the Prime Minister of fucking Portugal.
I
about
love this reference, man. I can't believe I didn't know this meme going into this. I can't believe it.
Yeah, very small world. The guy likes esports.
I guess so.
But like, yeah, but you know, it's all the same. It's just League is where good things go to die. It's but like if it, you know, it's gonna sound crazy, but like I'm glad League is a thing because it tanks and absorbs all the worst people in the world in the gaming community. And like imagine if League shut down, that would plague everywhere else. So like in a way it's a good thing that League is existent because other communities can kind of just thrive.
That's such an interesting way to put it. Like, League of Legends is the scion of the video game community. Like, it's gonna keep going, trucking through like a train. You can't stop it, but it absorbs, it doesn't die, it tanks all the damage, all the people. That's such a good point. I really like that.
Thank you. And yeah, obviously there are so many good people in League, and like normal people, normal 9-to-5ers, like whatever kind of person. But this game, because of its hyper competitive culture, because of its addiction, it really does like bring out the worst, and it brings in the worst people, brings out the worst in people, and then keeps you in for decades.
I think that's a great point, though. And I know that you hit on it earlier, and I'll even speak to it myself. I started way later than you, season 5, and that's something that I wanted to ask earlier, but it's a good point that like you said, did you play Call of Duty? Have you seen toxicity? Like, have you gone to other games and seen like voice chat toxicity? Have you seen how bad it is? And I know League gets a bad rap, and I know we're really focused on that, but even myself, back in season 5, 6, and 7, when I was learning the game, I wasn't immune to being toxic myself. I've had my main account banned. I had to create 5 different accounts 2 years ago when I started streaming to be able to play this game. Why do you think League of Legends specifically can take a good gamer or somebody that is so non-prone to being toxic or being negative? Why does it bring it out in people? Like, because I don't remember ever being toxic before I played League of Legends in too much of a capacity.
So the biggest thing is the ranking system. Well, it's like, how about this? Because it's a team game and you have to invest so much brain power, dedication to rank up, so much time. When you feel like someone isn't trying, it very much like you feel like you're in a team environment that is like corrupted, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you not pulling your weight? And like then when someone actually trolls, it's like, holy shit, you have literally, the win I would have gotten is now a loss, and that will take me at minimum an hour to get back to where I was. And like these games are really long. I would say it's a mixture of the rank system and the fact that it's a team game.
Yeah, and this is a big thing too, that, and I want to focus on the good side of League of Legends. Let's cleanse our palates eventually after, you know, we dive into this, but we'll get to that at a little point. Let's still focus on a little bit of negativity. It really is. It's to the point where because it's not individualistic based gameplay, that so much depends on other people, that the toxicity that people can feel will shroud over learning the game better, correcting their own mistakes, being positive and learning. Like, it really does prevent elo climbing, a barrier to be able to understand the game better. I mean, how once you kind of figured that out, did it help your game? And what's your advice to people climbing that mountain and becoming a positive learning player instead?
I mean, so if like, initially I would tell people like just don't play ranked because it's not worth it, from like a general like ROI on life perspective. But then I realized that like happiness can be derived. I guess it's gonna be too deep. So I'll just be like, honestly, I kind of just realized just like do whatever makes you happy. So if you really do want to climb in ranks and get better at the game, just literally all you have to do is mute everyone or just turn off team chat in the settings, or turn off both chats in the settings, and then just look on YouTube for guides, and you'll literally have challenger players explain to you how to play new champions,
Right.
and like how to play the game, and like just doing that, you'll climb very, very easily.
For sure. And I think that it's once you kind of realize, I mean, it has to be in, how do I phrase this correctly? League of Legends is such a complex game. It's so well regarded in a general sense. It's so popular that once you get to a certain level of understanding, it really becomes like an ego thing. But once you realize that it's still a game and you focus on the fun side of things, I mean, you are now playing in a brand new, by the way, guys, exclamation point guest to find any of this information out. You're playing in a brand new channel that you constantly make content in, and it's the literal for fun squad. Like, it's having fun. It's literally showing the lighter side of League of Legends. It's really showing that you just play with your friends and having memes with the homies can be a different side once you stop putting so much importance on rank, right? And tell us a little bit about how that started and how that kind of either helped the community shift a mindset and the difference that you're seeing in those viewers and commenters as opposed to most else.
Oh my god, the difference is so night and day. It is just mind-blowing to me how many people don't know that League of Legends is a video game, and video games are meant to have fun.
Yeah.
And it's just so crazy because most people are like silver, gold, platinum. Like your rank doesn't matter even a little bit, even if you're challenger. But like people just treat it like it's real life, and they get so upset about it. And it's just like, dude, I can't fathom playing a game just casually that makes you upset like that personally. Like, I am just insane. I just can't believe it. So then moving on to the For Fun Squad, it's this new channel. It's like a group. It's a 5-man group with me and my buddies, all content creators, and it's basically just the 5 of us playing together, one video a day. And the comments on those videos are the nicest thing I have ever seen. It is a strictly casual audience with just the most sane League players I didn't even know actually existed. I genuinely didn't. And it is it's so nice to see. It brings back my faith in League of Legends. I've DM'd this to Heisman, who is one of the founding members of the For Fun Squad. I've told him so many times, like, this has restored my faith in For Fun Squad or in League of Legends, and like in the community, and like, I get paid like a little bit to play every month just because it's like it's fair. But like honestly, to me, it's kind of like a vacation, even though I'm still recording League. And I guess the way I met them really quick. So Heisman. So I guess I'll talk about everyone. So there's Zwag, Heisman, Aoki, and Body. Zwag, I actually created his YouTube channel for him several years ago, and he is now the biggest League of Legends content creator in terms of watch time. I'm sure in terms of like ad revenue, all the stuff, which obviously Guy from previous story didn't show that, didn't mention that guy.
God damn it, Guy.
Yeah, god damn it, Guy. Heisman was my mentor for for YouTube. Well, when I got to like 10,000 subscribers, he had 100,000, and he kind of like just commented like, "Hey man, add me on Discord. Let's collab sometime." And from there, he like showed me a lot of tips and tricks. We did a lot of duo series, and it's safe to say he was my mentor for YouTube. We actually had a management company for a while before that fell through, managing people together. Yeah, Aoki, just a friend of Heisman who I met. Now we're buddies. We play together, and then Body is, I want to say, like my best friend in League, like in the online world, because we collab together 24/7. We're very we used to collab back in the day, and then we needed a fifth for fourth fun squad. So I said, let's get Body in here, and now we're all playing together, and it's just such a fun time.
Yeah. I have a great time watching those videos, and I'll tell you what, it really it does show that there's the lighter side that the game was meant to be, right? It wasn't meant to devolve into people sniping or inting or tilting or boosting or like all the other things that you hear about what League of Legends kind of has unfortunately became because of so much importance about different facets of the game. It was meant to be a good time. It was meant to be not like I can say there's a lot of aspects of the game I truly enjoy. And if we can like focus on the good things that the game has as opposed to the bad things, it can really, I mean, in what way, shape, or form besides something that you're doing right now with the For Fun Squad? Fantastic representation of what it should become. Streamers like Broxa, streamers like people that really just stay nothing but positive and lighthearted. Like, where do we get more of that? How do we encourage more people to be like that, show that example, right?
Yeah, so I have such an easy answer. I've been like so like beaten down like a puppy, like an abused puppy, to the point where like it's just like I don't even want to talk about this stuff. I'm going to because I don't actually care. But like my first instinct is just like But like honestly, like banning Tyler One, banning Tarzan, like people that in like consistently grief while are also consistently at the top of the viewership would really set a precedent, or like kind of like set an example of being like, this is no longer allowed. And like I'm not saying permaban them, but like actually taking action when people break rules would be an amazing thing to start with. But other than that, like if we want more Broxas, if we want people like Mr. Beast and Dream to come into League of Legends and like make these really, really good videos that, in my opinion, just we don't have that in the league at all. We would need a customizable map so creativity can shine through, and like we could do like there's just infinite ideas. If you could do customized League of Legends, like a practice tool was doing amazing. I did just a few videos when I broke the client and like made my practice tool 5v5 videos. Most of them are 500k, 800k, 1 million views. Like you can do a lot with a little bit of room to be creative. You can do so much, but Riot doesn't understand or appreciate that enough to make it a reality. I've had 5 different voice conversations with Riot, like meetings. I've DM'd 20 plus times asking for it, and they just don't care. And I mean, yeah, I don't know. Even like talking about Riot Games is it's a big bummer just because I know that if it was other people in charge, this game could be so much better.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like lots of things can be done.
Well, it's funny too because I've saw my own mental change from back then 4 or 5 years ago when I had a negative outlook on the game and I thought it was trendy to be so toxic. Then when I saw that I really saw myself become less toxic and realize that rank doesn't matter, losing a game doesn't matter, I started enjoying the more wholesome quality streams and games and YouTube videos, which is wild. It's kind of like once you change yourself from within, you can affect the community from without, right? And it really starts with the baseline of everybody, like not everybody, because it's unrealistic to think that anybody that ever does bad things, you could say, in League of Legends, that like imagine, like you said, if some of those creators completely actually truly did stop doing all of the bad tendency behaviors, and like it would just be a utopia. I'm not trying to give any funny false hope in chat or out there because I don't see that happening, unfortunately, but we can all hope and pray.
Yeah, not with League. I'm confident that League is too far gone. The entire community has been poisoned for years now. And it would take Actually, it's not too far gone. It's just
We still got hope, baby. We still got
yeah.
hope. I still have a
It
little bit. I still got some hope,
the
baby.
See, I would have hope if it wasn't Riot Games in charge. It is just the one company that I'm sure would never make the right decisions to get any of that fixed. Um,
But
but
it's.
yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
sorry, go on.
Sorry.
Oh, I was saying like, yeah, it's if we could get the creativity in League of Legends, if we could reward. I'm just regurgitating stuff I've told Riot before, but like, if we could get that creative outlet with like practice tool or customizing maps in League, if we could have maybe a creator reward awards like Jagex for RuneScape has the Golden Gnomes, or like Blizzard has BlizzCon, and if we could actually take action on these streamers that do these horrible things, maybe start banning people that are toxic and have an actual tutorial, the game would heal itself. It's just a lot of work for people that aren't willing to do it. For the people that it's work that needs to be done, and Riot's not the company to do it.
Well, you know what the crazy part is, and this kind of ties into what we're talking about right now, that there's a big difference, and I know it's the classic saying in the larger streamers or even mid-sized streamers that are a certain way on camera than they are off camera, right? Like you can say, oh, hey, this person is such an awesome dude off camera, or this person is awesome in real life, or on the flip side, it could be the most wholesome seeming person, or the most nice seeming presenting person could be the complete opposite. And while that is true, and for you specifically, I mean, dude, if you do get this hate and you do get this representation of somebody that the community, from these toxic other leaders of the community, point their fingers at, I mean, you are by far one of the nicest dudes I've met in so long. I told my girlfriend after we met you in TwitchCon, I was like, hey, meeting Professor Akali was like actually such, like, you go into skepticism well, after I get over the nervousness, the skepticism that you have in meeting anybody in any real life content or any construct, but then when it's a big content creator, walking away and telling her like, wow, that guy was legitimately awesome. Like I knew
Thank you, man.
I knew of kind of the hate that you received, and I remember just thinking like, how in the world does this person get this hate for genuinely being such a great person? But the thing is, it doesn't really matter. And I know that I'm not throwing any of that to the discount, but I think the point that I'm hitting at is that all of these tales and rumors that you hear about how somebody is off screen or offline, when it comes to how the league representation of the community is, or who follows what matters is what they present themselves online or on the screen or in their videos. Like it doesn't matter if they're like the nicest or best person offline, because that's not what the community emulates or aspires to be, right? So like I don't know, like there'd be so much. I mean, that's a problem in and of itself, but I think like the presentation or what you really put out there for people to consume as content is the end all be all, right? So it's got to be corrected in that sense, I'm assuming, and it's just it's a little sad, but anyways. So I think that was all great information, but I definitely want to get to some other nice things. So
Yeah, let's do it.
I know that we talked about a little bit earlier that you said, hey, the hardships, the highs, the lows. I want to talk about some highs, baby. So I know that you've hit some amazing milestones. I think you're over 1 million subscribers on YouTube right now. I'm sure you come in contact with amazing creators. Kind of lead me through some of the great things that you can say, like, hey, looking back on my on my career, these are some great things that I'm glad I accomplished, people I met along the way, etc.
Right. Okay. So, accomplishments. Obviously getting to 1 million subscribers was just a dream come true. And it's funny. Like a week after it happened, I like don't even. It doesn't mean anything anymore. It's like when you get like a new car or like a new anything. I'm so grateful for the number, but then now like the number doesn't mean much. That's really nice. I think I am grateful. It's a double-edged sword, because League of, you know what? No, I'm gonna say it. Like,
brag on yourself a little bit, baby.
Yeah,
we want to hear about all your accomplishments.
I hate bragging. I used to do it when I was like insecure, and it came off horrible. So I kind of like just like never do it. Um, Obviously, I'm very grateful for all of the amazing people I've met. Like, I've met a lot of good friends through the online world that I cherish, like in terms of relationship, um, like financially, and like I'll just word it in the best way possible. I have been able to hone in my talent and kind of like really set myself up and like my future family or whatever like very well, and I'm very grateful for that. Um, and I'm really grateful that I've been able to turn a game that I loved so much into a job and like make content for so many people and like have a creative outlet to kind of like make videos that people genuinely like.
Hmm.
Because ever since I was a kid, I used to draw before basketball. I used to draw, and like when I was like maybe like 2 years old, I had a painting go in the newspaper. And like I think I've always been creative with like Legos and stuff. So like being able to like turn all that stuff into a job and like yeah, like honestly, it's so stressful, and like I'm sure I've put a few years off my life dealing with like all the cancellations and the swings, and like being a YouTuber is fucking brutal sometimes. But like it is so worth it because I feel like, like I used to be so freaking fat before I started doing League, and like thanks to YouTube,
Boost
I was
team!
able to afford a personal trainer. I was able to afford healthier food. Um, I was able to like go out and do things, experience the
It's
world,
been a full
and
year. Laughing
I'm very
face.
grateful for a lot for the life it's provided and the people I've met, and like it's been a great life. It's been great overall.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I can't sing your praises enough. I mean, I'm not okay. Let me calm down here. You know, I like you, but I'm not trying to, reach over the screen and,
Hey,
give you a little pat on the back.
Hey, your girlfriend's not here. We can do anything. I'm messing.
No, and to that, I mean, at a side of positivity and overcoming the struggle, because I know that we talked about that earlier, and saying that, bullying is a real thing and a lot of people don't understand, is that you can ruin a person's day, a week, a life, a career by just being so toxic and negative, and having all the things that you say online or type on the keyboard furiously can really affect somebody. And what would you say for the people out there that maybe have dealt with something similar in the game, in the video game community? What was kind of your way to kind of get through those battles, come on greener the other side, make sure that you're just like, you know what, I believe in myself, I'm gonna get through this? Like, what would you say to those people?
Well, it's like it's tough because obviously, and like, are you talking about from like a creator perspective or
From
like
from
a
both,
random?
from a creator and a personal perspective, right?
Right. So the biggest thing for dealing with hate and stress is self-love and just like being able to be so happy with yourself that because here's the thing with getting hate, it's like no matter what, no matter who you are, every time you read a hate comment or you hear someone say something bad about you, it takes it's a little chip away at your soul. um but the thing is, because I guess it's gonna sound like cheesy, but because I love myself and I have a great group of friends, I've got a great outside of league life, I'm able to really evaluate with a clear head that this is just temporary bullshit. This is just part of the job.
Yeah.
This is just stuff that's gonna happen to everyone. I don't need to take it personally. I don't need to like let it ruin my life. And other than that, I think like just having the biggest thing far and few is like having friends that outside of gaming and like just having a friend group that I can like not just play video games with
Mhm.
has like really helped me become well-rounded.
Yeah.
So like I have a disconnect. I can disconnect from the real world to go play League. I can disconnect from League and go into the real world. And like I don't, because like if my life is my image Professor Akali and I'm getting a Reddit post about me, holy shit, my life is being attacked by like thousands of hate comments. Whereas it's like, okay, this is just my persona. Just it's all online. I'm just dealing with a little bit of bullshit. I'm gonna go hang out with my friends now, and like it'll blow away. So I think balance is so important, and like exercise, because I think the people that would like let that stuff get to them, if it's not them dealing with other personal stuff, will generally be a shout out to Beer Man. Anyways, will generally be the type of people that don't have many friends, they don't have anyone to talk to, and it consumes them. So.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Beard Man, too. You're a real one. And you're the reason I know this man to the right. So much love in multiple different ways, my guy. But yeah, I mean, I 100% agree. And I've got to give you moderation, commendation. There's a couple different words that start with that, I think I got them out. But like, I really have to say that, I mean, it's very impressive how, not only, and I know that anybody can go, again, guys, if you're not following Mr. Or subscribing to Mr. Professor Akali on his YouTube, personal, and the For Fun Squad, go do that immediately. The video that you did, that we've been touching about, you can go see that as well if you would like. But to see that you kind of have really composed yourself in such a professional way, that you really have been such a upfront, like, wholesome person that really does like respect people and that respects the community regardless if it does let you down in so many ways, because you can't be sad unless you care about something, right? You can't be discouraged unless like you're genuinely like invested or genuinely happy or genuinely wanting to be proud of something. And I mean, I just got to give you all the credit in the world of how, you persevered, you've handled these situations, that you've came out on the other side. It seems, for all sakes and purposes, a better and more fantastic person that you started. And I gotta say, like, if my hat didn't have any hair underneath it, I would tip my hat to you. But unfortunately, it doesn't. So
thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I never, and like some like horribly tragic shit. I mean, it happens in everyone's life, but like some horribly tragic shit has like happened in my life. And I'm not the type to ever dwell on the sadness, because no matter what, there is something positive to gain out of it. And I think just like dealing with all of this, like all of like the anxious nights, my stomach turning, and like feeling like a fucking sense of doom. I think it's made my like mental fortitude. It's made out of steel now. I don't think I actually ever get tilted, unless I'm in particularly a horrible mood, just off of like the day or whatever. I think even just getting harassed a lot has really helped me do so much soul searching, because like I was like very depressed back during like the beginning of COVID. I think a lot of people were, and like whenever I'd see those comments, it would like make me, you kind of like you start to believe it, like at least there's so many people saying like I'm a horrible person, like surely that's true. So it's like David Goggins says, I like referencing him, but like you don't learn anything in the light, you learn everything in the darkness. So I was able, in that dark place that I got from like being harassed, all this stuff, to really learn that like, no, I know who I am as a person. I know I'm a good person. I'm doing great things, and I'm very proud of everything. So basically, it's not all for none. It's not all for nothing. It's been a great learning experience, and I think my mental fortitude is probably in the top 1%, just from dealing with being one of the most hated people in the most toxic community online. So.
Yeah, and I mean it really is. It's almost inspiring. I mean, like you said, you didn't want to get too sappy or corny and emotional with it, but it is inspiring. And I really do think that, I mean, like we said, the hypothetical people that are doing something great for the community, you have to look at yourself as one of them. And I speak for myself. I'm sure I speak for all of your fans. I'm sure now we have people in the chat that are 100%, if you guys were a little bit skeptical, now you are. You're on board with the Akali train. So get on board and choo-choo, baby. But Yeah, so I wanted to ask a couple of other questions as well. Outside of League, I know that you've been playing, and you mentioned this earlier, you've been playing poker a little bit. As a poker player myself, I'm kind of interested in what got you started on that, and you've been streaming it a little bit here and there. Tell me about all that.
Right. So actually, I don't know if I can say the reasoning, but
Okay.
I'm not streaming that anymore. But I'll
Okay.
talk to you about poker because I love poker.
Dude, I love
Um,
poker. I love it.
yeah. Okay. So yeah. So poker. Um, when I was okay. So here, I'll talk about poker, but not like the streaming thing.
Uh-huh.
So I yeah. If I can't talk about the stuff, just like cut me off. But when I was 18, senior year going into college, I started playing poker, and I was the worst player at my friend group, um, by far. And that I'm I'm very much an ace of spades and not like a jack of all trades. So I will pour my heart and soul into one thing at a time and only one thing. I'm trying to get more balance to like exercise more while I do stuff. But it's super hard for me because I just want to do one thing over and over again.
Right.
So I poured my heart and soul into poker. Are you familiar with the poker scene with like Phil Galfond, Doug Polk, and all that?
Oh yeah, I mean, not the most recent. I used to play and watch like religiously back when Phil Ivey and Phil Hellmuth
Yeah.
and Moneymaker, like when it was huge, I would watch it all the time. And I used to
Yeah.
play when I was in college every summer. That's kind of what my job, you could say, quote unquote, was. But yeah, as of lately, I don't know too much about it, but I do have a couple of friends that are pros. It's kind of cool.
Awesome.
The
Yeah.
Hinkle
Yeah.
brothers. Have you ever heard of Taylor Blair or Grant Hinkle? They're
I
actually
have
pretty
not. I
good.
have not.
Yeah, yeah.
I kind of fell off the scene when I started playing League again. But
Hmm.
pretty much what happened was I just got super deep into it, and then college came around, and I was still playing casually for a year. Then I went off to university, and I was instead of going to class, I was playing online poker. Um, and there was one point where I turned $20 into $3,500 in like 2 weeks, just playing like a maniac. And
Damn.
I was playing heads up. I was such a dumb kid, but like I'd play like 10, 20, like, and I ended up losing all my money as like in like 2 hours. I decided to play high stakes. I had like two buy-ins, and I got incredibly unlucky. I'm sure the website was rigged, blah blah blah. Um, but I would sneak into poker rooms since I was 19, and in Arizona, they don't really care about security for poker rooms.
Right.
Just like the actual floor gambling. So I would sneak in all the time. I would cash out, no problems, and it was my obsession. It was so much fun, um, and I would pretty much just play nonstop. Whenever I had free time, I'd go to the poker room
Mhm.
and just play until World of Warcraft consumed my life, and I kind of stopped going. It is the most fun thing to do, while also simultaneously being the most boring thing to do.
That's such a good description. And always, did you ever do like Omaha or just Texas No Limit?
Oh yeah,
Times?
I played PLO.
Oh, you
like
played
before,
a lot of things. Okay.
just Pot Limit Omaha and No Limit Hold'em. But yeah, no, I absolutely love poker. I love the psychology to it. I love like, and obviously I can't talk about any of this stuff like.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I heard that you
no.
were playing poker the other day, or you like poker. I'm like, damn, dude, I love poker. I just needed to ask, but if you can't get too much into it,
Oh
that's fine.
no. Like, how do I word this so like you can kind of like different groups of people will play different styles. Like some people might play more aggressive, and I'll just say this: like old people will play very tight. So I'm not without like saying any specific groups. It's like it's so fun to look at that, then like put. I just love the psychology of it
Yes.
so much. It is
Yeah.
so much fun. And that's it for the poker thing.
Well, you mentioned it earlier too. The psychology of it's so fun, which is like kind of that psychology just like basically is baked into most of what we've been talking about tonight. But yeah, as something that maybe this is a psychological question. If it was anybody but Akali any other champion, if you literally
Kiana.
had to sit there and spam out 500 games and be like, you know what, I'm Professor, now that champion, who would it be?
Kiana. There's
Kiana?
yeah. So the way I gauge a one trick for YouTube is based off of like that champion's flashiness and skill ceiling. So like there's this girl who streams Katarina, her name is Gamer Girl, and when I was managing, I was like just dying to manage her because you know she's a girl that plays Katarina and Challenger, and it's like that would have been like if she posted consistently with good leader, like with good I guess mentorship, she would have blown up so hard because it's just like everything you need is there. But like yeah, so like champions like Katarina, Yasuo, Akali, incredibly hard to master, but so flashy and so fun to watch. And no one does Kiana, like no one. And like there's one person in China, Beifeng, but he's in China and like there is no YouTube in China. And what like Kiana has to be like the coolest looking champion in my opinion to watch.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think if anyone is
Okay,
a diamond plus player
All right.
that wants to make it big, go fucking crazy on Kiana. If I had more time to learn a new champion and like cared enough, I would definitely two trick her. But dear God, she's so fucking difficult that I just have no interest.
And I'm so sad because I played from like season 5 to like probably 9.5 to 10 on a computer that only gave me 30 FPS. So like, dude, I had no ability to learn technical champions. So you're talking to a support tank, top tank, jungle tank, fighter, bruiser. Like, you know what I mean? I've learned ADC this past season because Brandy just started playing the game, playing support. I played bot lane with her. It's been fun, but
Nice.
I'll tell you, man. And that leads me into my next question because I think this meta, this new season is gonna be an interesting one. I think it's gonna be kind of tank favored. What are your thoughts of what you've seen so far for the people that are gonna be trying to ranked, or what you think you're gonna be doing your fun squad content on? What do you kind of think of with the season that's coming up from what we've seen so far?
You know, I'm not. So ever since I became a one trick, so I used to be like stupid high elo back in like season 2 and 3, and I was a meta slave then. Is what we call like when you like keep up to date with like what's the best picks and all that stuff.
Right.
But ever since I started playing Akali, I kind of just I don't pay attention to anything. Like to be completely honest with you, I have no clue what's gonna be good or bad. I would imagine tanks are going to get nerfed. Like the big item that everyone's using, like AP bruisers, AD assassin, like everyone's building Jack Show, and that just got a massive nerf. So I think, and this is like one thing, other than like Riot's like skin department, I think the other good team is balance, and like that's a pretty hot take because people tend to disagree with the balance team being good. But I think the game is going to be very well centered, and like it's going to be balanced, in my opinion.
For sure. And everybody, we've always got the hope, like the hope we talked about earlier. We're always holding on to that hope, right? We're hoping that the next season is the one, baby. It's the one I'm looking forward to. It's the one we're gonna be climbing on, baby. We're gonna get this together.
It's not the game. The game is so good. It's just everything other than the game.
Yeah.
It's just the players, it's the community, it's Riot making all the wrong decisions. The game is so good.
So what would you say then is your favorite thing about the game? If you had to pick one thing, I know that's a tough loaded question, but like maybe generalize it, I guess. But if you had to say your favorite thing about the game in a nutshell.
I mean, this is like biased because I'm good at the game.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Yeah,
Go on.
Yeah, I don't know how to word it. I like being able to be rewarded for having a competitive skill in, I guess, esports. I guess it is esports and it's not, obviously it's not competitive, but like I enjoy playing and like outplaying people. I like, and obviously like once again, I know I reference psychology a lot, but I like the psychology of having to outplay people and knowing what they're gonna do and reacting accordingly. So like, you know, if I'm Akali with my second ultimate up with the execute, and like I'm going into Fiora, who I know has parry, like there's so many different ways to do it. Usually I hold it. If they still don't do it, then I'll end up like I can even flash next to them for no reason. Then that makes them panic, use their parry, and then I execute them. There's just so many like cool aspects to it, the game.
Right.
And like what I find enjoying is usually what casuals hate, because it is so much for them to learn. But as someone who's played the game for so long, it like the competitive skill aspect to the game is the only real thing left to this game that's redeeming, other than like the for fun squad and you know, Earth and stuff like that.
Oh, for sure. And I would say, if I had to answer the same question, I love the ability to everyone starts at square zero at the beginning of every game. Like, there's no built up character, there's no built up advantage. Like, everyone goes back, like what they say about like Monopoly. Once you're all done, you put it back in the board goes back in the box. You know what I mean? Like, once you carry a game so hard, like, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. You go back to the next game, you got to do the same thing over. You have to outsmart, like you said, psychology. You have to have the wits about you. Everything's a brand new game. It's a clean slate. I love that so much about the game. I think that's
no pay to win.
Yeah, no pay to win. Skins, they say skins equal wins. Sometimes I guess that's somewhat true. Yeah, but
not really. It doesn't increase the damage. Like, honestly, it's so regular, it's so normalized at this point that like I don't even care. But yeah, there are luck skins that you can't actually see anything. It's all a facade. You can't actually still see the Lux Q come out. It looks like it's the ground. So.
Well, Brandy's actually a one-trick Lux, though, Professor. So I'm gonna tell her you said that. She's listening right now. She's gonna be like, Professor Akali doesn't like me anymore.
No, that is not true. I enjoyed every interaction we had. No, but yeah, she's gonna enjoy the freaking buffs Lux is getting. She is getting the biggest buffs I've seen in like years.
Oh yeah, and it's gonna be just mint. I'll tell you that. So guys, this is a point in the time because we're gonna be only hitting on a few more points. Professor, do you have about 20 more minutes ish, or how much longer do I have you? Because
whatever.
I love that the two things that have never happened in my stream, because I don't know if you used to leave Streamlabs or you worked with clients that worked with Streamlabs, but I swear something different always goes wrong every time I open up this. And dude, like, my alerts aren't showing up on screen. Now my my join queue bot is not working. It's not showing up for me. I guess I'll try to refresh my page. But this is kind of where the point at the end of the podcast, we give the opportunity for the viewers to be able to ask any questions they want to. We have a join queue. Okay, it's back up. So guys, if you want to !join in the lobby, and you guys can queue up to ask myself or Mr. Professor Akali anything that you would like to. And this is a hot guest, guys, both physically and literally. So so guys,
love my guy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm usually the one of the better looking people on the screen in this situation. I mean, I don't like this, dude. I don't like this. You know, I got Brandy usually looking better than me, and now you're looking better than me. I don't understand what's going on here. But yeah, guys. Oh man, I've never seen a join queue pop off like this before. So yeah, we see it. If you guys want to see, the order is in the panel down low. I'll start asking people what their question is. If when you ask your question, guys, can you please tag me in the chat so it can be boldened and I can see it pretty quickly? Thank you. But yeah, so while we're waiting for those questions to come through, Mr. Professor, what is in the works for the For Fun Squad, the Professor Akali channel? What are we gonna be looking forward to? I don't know if it's confidential. If you can't,
no.
If you can't really divulge that information to us, but what should we expect when, like I said, guys, you hit that !point guest and you go follow both those channels?
So, for Fun Squad, we have merch coming. There's no way Heisman cares if I talk about that. He just have the type. But yeah, we've got some merch coming that should be pretty cool. There's some questionable stuff that we're hashing out, but like in terms of like some of it kind of looks ugly. But like we got some pretty cool merch coming. I think Swag's doing a keyboard for everyone too. Like he sent us all keyboards, and I think we're gonna start selling For Fun Squad keyboards, which is super cool. in terms of my own channel and my own content, I was actually at a crossroads because a few weeks ago I was like feeling pretty down and like just like pretty not done with League of Legends, but I was considering switching focuses from spending all day playing League to just posting 4 collab videos a month and like really maximizing sponsor revenue. When you post less, you get more views. So like really just like keeping me afloat with it and moving on to a different game. Like I was gonna try Grand Theft Auto. I have this new idea for an IRL channel. Um, I was pretty down after that making that video and just like it kind of like once again made me realize just like my perspective of the community was so horrible. But then I had a conversation with my friend Duanel, or I guess I'll call him, Dantes by chance?
I came across him when I was prepping for the podcast.
Right. So
yeah,
so he, it's really cool because like most people, when you like collab with them and help them, it's like whatever, they'll be in the video and like they don't really want to interact and like that's totally cool. Like people come and go, blah blah blah. But there's been a few people throughout my career of like 6+ years that have really like stood out to me. Just a very few people, and Duanel is one of them. Because I remember I managed him off the bat, and like I'd help him through some stuff when he was low, and really tried my best to help him out until I just couldn't deal with the stress anymore of like the whole drama that we talked about earlier.
right.
But it's really cool because I told him that like, hey, I was considering doing a podcast myself. I was just gonna like swap my entire main channel over to a podcast and post clips and like whatever. Like I felt like I was looking for a reason to quit League in a sense and like really all in something else and like go into that. But he sat me down, or we had a call that lasted an hour, and he kind of just explained to me that I was being emo, which I completely recognize to be true. Like I'd been moving so much, I hadn't been like exercising, and like my self-worth was slowly slipping. Not to mention all that drama that was like fresh in my head. He kind of like helped me realize that it's not so bad, and if I were to just consistently stream, you know we'd meet a lot of good people, and like you just have to rise through all the haters and like really go for challenger and all these stuff. He gave me a lot of really good advice, and the summary of all that is I'm going to be going for challenger right when the new season starts in January.
Oh, nice.
And making like a video just talking about like the past, the present, and the future, because my Dwayne's like one of my closest online friends. He's one of the very few people in League that I can call a real person, like a good person. He's been in a very similar situation to me, where like even like the same guy would like try to ruin his life. So he was the perfect person to talk to,
Right.
to like kind of like rejuice my my desire to really keep at League. And it's interesting because at this point, being at 1 million subscribers, I'm not going to hit 10 million because the game doesn't have that capability. If they made a bunch of drastic changes, maybe it could, but like it's not going to become Fortnite without any like major changes. Like Ninja had like 30 million or something, and like that's the type of game that can get 10+ million subscribers. But
Right.
it's like I feel like I already hit my peak of like accomplishment, but I think now I'm stepping into the streaming zone come January, and I'm gonna be streaming consistently and getting to challenger, and just really focusing on streaming as a new passion. And I'm very happy about that decision because I can still play League. I'm not wasting all of the time I've spent playing Akali. I have my audience backing me up. They're here to support me, and it's just I'm very excited for the future of streaming now. And I'm gonna switch up my YouTube format to just stream highlights because as it stands, it's not worth doing anything else for League of Legends.
Dude, that's so great to hear you say that, though. And that's what I'm sure every streamer kind of goes through their highs and their lows, or content creator through the highs and the lows, to like hear that you're kind of back on to have that passion, that desire. You got that fire underneath you. Ooh, I like it, baby. I like it, especially coming from you. I need to see more Professor Akali in my life.
I'll hit you with You best believe I'll be hitting you and Beer Man with all the raids. I don't raid enough people because I don't like raiding people. I don't most people I don't like. I'm not gonna lie.
Mhm.
So I raid either one viewer streamers to make their day, or just my same friends over and over again. Like I pretty much raid Beer Man every single time I stream.
Hell yeah,
Because
baby.
but
He
yeah.
deserves it, man. He's got such good stream over there. His production quality, his
Dude.
personality. It's 8 plus,
Oh my,
baby.
he has the best stream I've ever seen. Except for Doctor Disrespect. It is so well put together. It is insane.
Yeah. That's why he's probably my best friend on the platform, baby. So keep talking him up. I love hearing good stuff about my friends out here. Let's go. So
He's
yeah,
an amazing person.
so
Sorry,
yeah,
go on.
I agree. So I don't want to keep you too long. I want to get into these questions. So the first one comes from I need a knock up. This one's for both of us. What is your opinion on Yasuo, the champion, right now?
I think he is a top tier champion to one trick, but the problem is if you're a noob like lower yellow, that most people just int more often than they carry because Yasuo has so much damage. I actually had this like experiment for a few months ago. I played 30 days Yasuo in a row, and I realized that this guy can like has so much damage and like can solo kill people at like level 2. But the problem is you play so extended when you dash into enemies and then you just get ganked and you end up feeding. So it's like literally the typical with great power comes great responsibility situation. I think Yasuo is an amazing champion to play, but I also prefer Yone because I feel like he does more in solo queue. He doesn't need to be set up by teammates, and he has a more escape potential with his Q jump over the wall. So like if you like Yasuo, I 1,000,000,000% recommend you try getting good at Yone instead.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I'll tell you, I know that the Yasuo, the meme is 0 and 10, you hit the power spike. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously it never happens, but it's a champion that like can fall behind and still be powerful. It's a champion that can legitimately not play well in lane. And again, this isn't, I know we got Knockup, the homie that asked it, very good Yasuo player. So I've never seen him do this, and I mean that, baby. But you can get super far behind and still hit your item spike and be very, very able to still even 1v1 the other team's carry if you play it out correctly, you micromanage the fight well. I think that he's gonna be, I don't know, with the new tank meta, I'm not sure. I would definitely have to, defer to Akali's expert judgment that you guys just heard. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. And hey, you know what? Keep that win strong, Naka. Keep that win strong, baby.
Yeah.
So the next
Keep going
question.
strong.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, nothing. I was just saying what you said.
Oh, okay. So the next question is, Professor Akali, what do you think about the 2 rank resets coming next season from Chrono Echo?
Like how they're resetting the season twice.
Yeah, so the two rank reset that's gonna happen.
That is it's such a smart idea they're literally just splitting the season in half and still doing like the gold or like the skin rewards and all that stuff. It's such a genius idea because people will play the people that would play to get to gold every year just to get that skin are now going to play twice as much, which is now doubling the chance of them getting hooked into the game. I think it's a very good decision by Riot Games in terms of addiction. And honestly, on a personal level, I like it. I think it's cool because when the ELO system fucking inflates, like by the end of the season, getting to Challenger used to be like 400 or 500 LP, and now it's like it like was almost like 900 or something. Like it needs to be reset so the game doesn't inflate at the top too hard.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with that. And there's really even not too much I can add on that. I think it was angled at specifically you, but I do have to agree with all of those thoughts. I do believe it's a great idea. The next question comes from Cam Main. Would you ever main Camille? Like, what are your thoughts on her? I have to know, becoming from the Akali player I learned to play Akali from.
Dude, the thing about Camille is she will never be bad. I like her a lot as a champion. I think I think she is a top tier solo queue top laner. And she just never gets nerfed. There's always an item that's OP on her. Like maybe she gets nerfed sometimes, but she never falls out of meta too hard, as far as I can tell. So, and I just love the way her kit works with that E, that auto reset on the Q. I love her. If I was a top lane player, there's like so many champions I want to play if I had more time. But yeah, I would play Camille if I had time. I like her a lot.
Oh, for sure. The outplay potential, I think, on that champion. Even I used to be a top laner. Well, I was a top laner before she came into the game, but like the outplay and the turn on the shield and being able to, the damage is surprising. Like I kind of liken her to almost a Jax player that has like a small Nautilus shield that has the closing rate of nobody else in the game. I mean, I really think that Camille is one of those high skill cap champions that, you know what I mean? It's like the investment of time is worth exponentially the rewards that you said. Like I think you said ROI earlier. Like the ROI on Camille is through the roof. So yeah, I really think that she's 1000% worth to play. And yeah, keep going, baby. Keep going with it. So all right. So the next question goes for Gare Bear. So it's for you, Professor Akali. Damn, the praise right off the bat. I love it. And this is a friend of mine who's a good Akali man, so this has got to be some hype stuff right here. He's also really good. You're freaking amazing, and you made me be the good Akali player that I am today. What intrigued you to become a one-trick Akali main, and do you miss her original ult?
Well, first of all, thank you. And what intrigued me to become an Akali main, and do you miss her original ult? So originally, it was her original ult. It was the fact that you could keep dashing around, resetting, and like back in the day, your Q auto would just pop so hard, and like it was strictly based off of how fed you were, so you snowball really hard, right? If you had all this AP, you'd Q auto with like a 5 kill lead and like instantly one-shot people, and that was so much fun. So that's why originally one tricks were back in season 1, but then like to make my career off of her in a sense, it was because when I came back to League in season 6 after a little break from playing WoW, college, poker, I came back and I played against a really good Akali player. When like the season 6, I think, when Tank Akali, like Korean build, was strong and like she dumpstered me. And I was like, wait, Akali's good again? Akali's good for like the first time. She was never good. She was never meta. I was like, let's fucking go. And then we're off on the sunset from there. But yeah, I do miss her original. I miss her original kit, and as dumb as I think Riot is, they would be so dumb, unless I'm missing something, to not make a game mode where it's like classic League, where it's like all the old pre-rework champions as like a rotating game mode. If they didn't do that, I would be in shock. I have to. Like they have to do it. It's just too good.
It's a great idea, right? And I mean, yeah. And I will tell you though, and I gotta talk him up. So Akali, Gare Bear, I'm not trying to help you out too much here, but I haven't actually divulged this to you yet, Mr. Professor Akali. Akali has become almost my permaban now. Because I've played a lot of ADC this season, and whenever I'm playing norms, because I've been playing a lot of 5 stacks with the homies this entire season, and whenever I see that Gare Bear is queuing up, not only do I respectfully leave it open, but he always pops off on the Akali. So being a fan of yours and learning from you, you have taught him well without even knowing you were teaching him well. So
that's awesome.
Let's go.
I love that.
So the next question comes from Garb Dog. It goes out to Professor Akali. What has the viewer mod relationships been like for you? Has it ever been awkward, or have you gotten any relationships that started off from viewers that evolved into the mod ship?
It's obviously, it depends from person to person. I think, so there have been like a few mods that have been with me for years, like Caleb, Zai, Chrono. There's so many people, like I can't even like list them all. My relationship with them is, it depends on the time of the year, because sometimes I'll like be consistently like messaging them like we'll send each other memes and stuff. But and like there was a point which I play. It just depends on what I'm doing with my content and what my life is looking like. Because if I'm incredibly busy and I'm not doing viewer games or like games with mods, then like I won't really interact with them too often. But especially the past few months, I've been playing with mods just nonstop. Like for all my videos, like the 3v5s, the just like the whatever random builds for like my second channel, and it's been a lot of fun. But has it ever been awkward for you, or have you gotten relationships that have started off of viewers? No, like relationships, but like yeah, I don't think it's ever been awkward. The weird thing is like getting, how do I put this? It's, I think, I think it's weird getting hit on by like guys and girls that think it's like not weird because I'm a guy, and like they'll say really weird shit, and like I think that's the only weird thing that like kind of bothers me. But because I'm a guy, it's like supposed to be okay. But it doesn't actually bother me. I'm like kind of like, ew, what the fuck? Like, like it doesn't matter if it's like a guy or a girl saying it. It's like equally like you're just gonna say that. I don't know. It,
I see what you mean, though. I see what you mean.
Some weird shit has been said. I'm not gonna lie.
And I'm not sure if Garbdog meant that as like the relationship as a friendship from a viewer that turned into a moderatorship and a friendship. I'm not sure, but I think that was still a valid and a good answer to give, because I'm sure you probably came across that before, right?
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough to say. Friendship from viewer. Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, the problem is like I don't have as much time as I'd like to be on Discord, like hanging out with my community or playing with people, like different games. I actually don't allow myself to play different games. I played Fortnite for a sponsor, and it was the first time I played a different video game in other than like Raid Shadow Legends or something for sponsors. It's the first time I played like a really fun video game in like 4 years, because last time I did it was PUBG. I got addicted for a month, and it like ruined my job. Like I wasn't recording because I was so addicted. So, you know, it's like a lot of it's like I would like to play Fortnite with viewers, like different games. People say like play Modern Warfare 2. It's just like I can't. I need to focus on League, and then when I'm not focusing on League, I need to get outside and like get some exercise, get like social outlet. Like, yeah, stuff like that.
Oh, for sure. And yeah, and for the thing, like a lot of, it's such an interesting concept, and my mods do a fantastic job, and it's such an interesting dichotomy between like moderatorship and streamer, right? It's like it's a position of mutual respect between the streamer and the mod. It's a position of power to reflect the moderator's values and core beliefs and concepts of how a chat should be, you know, handled, how people should behave and conduct themselves within, you know, a society, I guess, you know, but the Twitch chat. And then it's, you know, usually, and that's something, you know, maybe shout out to the mods here. Once I got to a certain point, I was gonna like set up a PayPal for the moderatorships to be tipped. And I like kind of, I gave my mods like a little bit of a little gift card when they all signed up for it. And I'm like, hey, how can I help you guys? Because I know this is an unpaid thing. I know you guys do this just to have genuine caring. Actually, the person who just resubbed to me was one of my mods. Thank you so much, Rim. And you know, it's a very special thing to like, not only just for moderatorships in general, but like to have these real IRL relationships with your community, being able to really build these friendships off of people that are online that you meet IRL, which actually leads into the next question. And Volpix, I love this one. So Volpix says, for both of you, what is your favorite memory of the other one?
Man, well, we just like my favorite memory of you.
Yeah, that's what I think what he's asking.
Oh.
I think Volpix doesn't know we only met each other once for like 5 hours, but I mean, still, tell me all the good things about myself.
I mean, honestly, I will say I kind of like a hippie sometimes, but like your aura was very, very like happy, and it was very like calming is not necessarily the right word. That was one of them, but like it was very fun to hang out with you, because I would say like you were one of the one of the very few lives of the party. Because like you've got like your social alphas and like the side goers, but like I'd say like you were one of the few, and it was very fun to interact with you, and like we had a really good time. I would say.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna tear up. I need a beer to calm down now. That was so nice to say, man, and I appreciate that so much. And I said this before earlier, and I will stick by this again. Man, it's so like you go into any relationship with anybody, like even if you're in a blind date or if you're just meeting a friend from online, or in my situation, to be a small-time streamer, a small-time content creator, and meeting someone that has such a reputation, such an aspired what we all try to be, and you never really know what you're gonna get, and it's a big thing to see what somebody's like when you meet them IRL from something that you've seen online for so long. And I honestly have to say, I mean this like with all due, like, not trying to kiss assness, but like, dude, Professor Akali was legitimately, from like the second I walked into the room and we sat across him for lunch, and I think I sat across you for the drinking game, I was like, I wanted to gravitate towards like the people that you want to gravitate, because like you said, like I was like, hey man, this guy seems so fucking cool, like I want not only to like try to be a friend and try to get in good or whatever, like this guy genuinely makes me want to talk to him, and this guy definitely like is the kind of like, how you recognize your kind of person or your kind of people when you're around them, and it doesn't even take you that long sometimes. And within like a 5-6 hour hangout, I was like, man, like I feel super comfortable with this dude. Like it was kind of crazy how well like you mesh with somebody, and you're definitely one of those people, and I really like, that's why I was so genuinely excited to have you on, and I don't say that lightly, because you're just an awesome dude. Like I get so discouraged to know that you've been through so much. I respect you so much more that you've gone through it, but meeting you from a real life perspective and seeing like just how bad things can happen to good people, but those good people that are great people can overcome them. I mean, that's you in a nutshell, baby. And
Thank you, man.
I mean it, man.
I mean, first of all, I really appreciate it. But I mean, like, obviously, I think this goes without saying, but I wouldn't have done this podcast if I didn't really like enjoy hanging out with you. I could tell you and your girlfriend were very real, down to earth people, and like honestly, like I don't even remember what your girlfriend and I talked about. I think it was like just like living situations and like homes and stuff like that. But like just interacting with both of you was just so enjoyable. So it's been a pleasure meeting you, and I'm sure we'll drink again at Beer Man's next Airbnb.
Oh yeah, baby. And again, actually, that's perfect. Another perfect segue. She does apologize that she couldn't be here. She had some things come up, so unfortunately, but she does extend all the best wishes to you. And I'm sure that I think she's wrapped up what she had to do. She might be watching, so I'm sure it's so funny too when I said that. Like before the stream, I was like, man, he's gonna have a purple wall above him, a unicorn head above him. Like, let me post his logo to man this up real quick. But she definitely extends all her best wishes to you as well, and had nothing but like very positive and good vibes shit to say about you too, my friend. So
I appreciate it. Tell her I said hi.
I will, for sure. Guys, that is going to wrap up the episode. One of the most epic episodes I can say of anything I've ever done, period. Guys, I've had a great pleasure. Is there anything that you want to leave us with, or any kind of sign off that you kind of want to let us know?
Let me think about that for like 10 seconds.
Okay, and in the meantime, guys, I'm going to be setting up the raid message, so if you guys want to copy and pasta that, we are going to be raiding out after this. Again, Professor Akali, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Guys, if you're not following him on both of his channels, !guest, it's been typed many times. Go follow both of those channels. Go subscribe to both of those channels. Go give them all the love. And Professor Akali, any last words?
Thank you. This is gonna sound stupid, but guys, go outside for 20 minutes a day, and you will never understand how much happier you'll be, and like how much better you'll be at video games, how much better you'll be at your work. You'll understand if you give it a week. I promise. Just go outside for 20 minutes and go walk. That's all. Random thing I know.
Yes, sir. Like you said earlier, though, make sure in a non-ironic and non-hypothetical way, you're touching that grass, baby.
Yes.
All right, guys. I'll see y'all later. We will be back next week. Like I always say, stay happy, stay healthy, and make sure, most of all, that you guys stay cool. We'll see y'all later. Peace.
Peace.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. I'll be uploading every week, and everything is live streamed from my Twitch channel. Check the information down below in the description. Stay cool.